Hello guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome again to another war film review in our War Week. Tonight we're looking at Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk. Although it's an American director, this is about the British Army. And again, it's another emotional ride. I find these war films really difficult to watch for a number of reasons. It's heartbreaking to see so many families and men destroyed over other, like I told you before, other people's war, but also a sense of pride and proudness of these men. I know these are films, but these are historical events that have actually happened, and they are being sort of translated for us into movie form. This one is it's based on a disastrous mission from the British Army, obviously from the government, of course. They sent a load of our troops and French troops into this area of France, and they were absolutely outnumbered, and they had to withdraw back and onto Dunkirk beach, where they were pretty much picked off. Uh, they were just there to be shot at by aeroplanes, because the Dunkirk beach is an enormous beach, and there was 400,000 British and French soldiers on this beach. So they were getting bombed, and they were getting sort of cut down with machine gun fire, and it was a hopeless sort of cause. And every sort of ship that was being sent out there, every destroyer or frigate or minesweeper, was being taken out by bombers in the air and U-boats in the sea, because Winston Churchill did not want to send any other boats or any other sort of aircraft out there. He wanted it there for the Battle of Britain, because he's sure that's what was coming next. So he did not want to send any sort of more boats out there or anything else. But what happened is the British public went out there. This was people that owned ships, boats, yachts. You had fishermen, you had people that owned yachts, and they all went out to Dunkirk to try and bring our boys back to Blighty. And they managed, I believe, they managed to get nearly 300,000 people away from that beach. And this was down to the fishermen and, like I said, British public, civilians going back and forth, bringing people back from all these sort of things. And this film does sort of portray a lot of that, but it also sort of concentrates on a few stories. There's a story of a couple of young lads. One is a Frenchman who's stolen a British soldier's uniform, because obviously he's a bit scared and he wants to get off the beach as well. And this other English soldier suss that out, but he doesn't say nothing. They sort of become friends, and their story of survival begins. And we also have the survival of these pilots, of these Spitfires that are going out there to try and take out these bombers and stuff that were hitting the ships, and stuff like this, because they only sent a small amount of Spitfires out there. And it follows the story of the courageous Air Forcemen that were out there. And it also follows the story of a son and father and a young friend of the family that have gone out on their little boat out there to try and help. And they come across a stranded sailor in the sea, whose boat has been hit by a U-boat, and he's still stuck on this boat, and it's played by Cillian Murphy. And he gets on the boat, and he's quite he doesn't want to go back to Dunkirk. He wants them to take him home. They argue with him, and they have a big fight, and the young boy gets injured and ends up dying in the end in the film. But the boat still carries on. The father sort of tells him why they're doing this, and he goes on, and they go on to save a great number of people on a small boat, which is absolutely amazing. And it also follows the story of all these sort of little characters that are sort of going on that we see throughout the film, and their different stories and different plights and things like this, and we see one of the commandos there played by Kenneth Branagh, and he bravely stays behind when all the Englishmen have been sort of like removed and on their way back to Blighty. He's going to stay to try and foresee the removal of some Frenchmen that are still there. So it tells the story of his bravery, and it tells you the bravery of when people come together when it looks hopeless, and then if you all stick together, you can get, you know, some sort of like result out of it, if you like. Not victory. This was a great loss. This was a stupid plan again by the government that lost so many people their lives, so many families destroyed because of this, and it's just absolutely heartbreaking. And it is one of the most heartbreaking stories on film, I think, because it's a British disaster, and it's just like you know, most war films demonstrate the victories, don't they? You know, like The Longest Day and all this sort of thing. Not many of them go into what was a disaster, but hope came out of it, of like when normal people not just defending their country or defending their fellow man, and this is what this film does. Now, the pluses of this edition, it's stunning. And this is the 4K edition from my obviously my 4K Nolan box set. It's absolutely stunning, absolutely amazing from start to finish. It's just as beautiful as All Quiet on the Western Front. It's absolutely amazing looking film. The transfers are 10 out of 10. Negatives to the film, I do find I did like the music. I thought it made it too much, not Americanized, but gave it that sort of, you know, this is a big budget movie sort of feel. And I thought, no, take that out. Let's make this. This is like a sort of story of these people, a true story. So let's not make it into like a glamorous movie. Let's show the story, and it does. But I didn't like the music. I think the music took it out from it. But the direction was fantastic. The photography was amazing. There's some amazing shots of Spitfires and stuff like this in the film. I suppose another little negative of the film, because there's supposed to be 400,000 people on this beach. A lot of times it didn't look like that. It looked like there was about 100 people on there, and I was just thinking, yeah, you know, what, all of a sudden there's no one on the beach. Where are they? There was little bits of moments like that was just sort of like threw me out a little bit, but it doesn't take it away from the film from being an amazing war film. And it was absolutely amazing. Made me very gripped at places. It made me very angry at places. It made me very proud, especially when Kenneth Branagh looks out across the sea with his binoculars. What do you see? And he says, I see home. Because out in front of him were all these little boats that were coming towards Dunkirk to pick up our lads from the beaches. And that was a very proud moment. And it was sad at times, seeing the young lad being killed, and sort of like all of our sort of these sort of ships that think they're getting away, and all of a sudden they're attacked and killed, and it's just like, you know, it's very, very sort of sad. And then it was a very sort of hopeful ending where you see some of the lads back in Britain, and it's a really cool film. So I'm going to score the film itself an amazing watch and give it a 9 out of 10. So the film I give a 9 out of 10. The 4K edition transfer, I'm going to give a 10 out of 10. Absolutely fantastic, because the sound was absolutely brilliant too. Really, really cool. Highly recommend it if you want a good war film. I tend to avoid American war films because, not because a lot of them are not good, but I find a lot of them are very like, America saves the day sort of thing. And I'm just thinking, maybe you didn't save the day and things like this. And I find them a little bit too glamorized war, if you like. I like my films to be, when it's about war, a lot more gritty. Yes, it's heartbreaking, but I like them to be a bit more true to what was going on. Um, that's why I tend to prefer British war films, like the Bridge of River Kwai. Dunkirk, although I say it's an American director, but it's a British story. The German film, All Quiet on the Western Front, was fantastic. But anyway, guys, that's the second one this week. Stay tuned for Friday for the third one. Cheers.